If I'm going to say a prayer to God and tell him I am ready for your next step, that is part of manifestation. And if anybody doesn't believe it, then I don't think that you're understanding of what manifestation truly is. Sure. I went to my stepdad's store to work for him for the day for like $100, I think, on my day off. And I saw the jewelry and I was like, I bet I could sell all of this on my Instagram.
The future doesn't look that bright right now with the kids, the way they're raising up, right? With iPads and the technology piece. Does that worry you at all? Especially with your background, as hardworking as you've been, and nothing is given to you. Everything you've gotten, 4 or 5 businesses is on you and your husband.
Yeah. I kind of hope and pray my kids don't have to go through the chaos of everything I've been through for the businesses.
Look at me, habibi. Dubai Jeep, let's get it. Look at me, habibi. Dubai Jeep, let's get it. Bags, expensive.
Yeah, don't touch me. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. No, I have to back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up.
Welcome to another episode of Stroke of Success Podcast. It's your favorite host, KB. I'm here in Miami, Florida, my favorite city of all time. Wynwood, shout out to the Move Miami Studio, once again hosting us here today. Today's guest is someone special. I came across her profile on social media and just started to dig in, and this girl is doing a lot of stuff. I reached out to her and said, hey, let's do a podcast. She said, let's do it. Welcome, Karly.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on.
Nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, same here. And your husband's back there.
Yes.
Next time, part 2, we'll have you on here too.
He loves this stuff.
A real estate person. I love it. I'm jumping your background quickly. I'll give you a shout out to your company. Kasakarly.
Yes.
That's a main jewelry brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
That's my baby.
Oh, wow. Konsulting lab. Mm-hmm. Girl, man, you're working hard.
Yes.
Como brand?
Como, yes.
Oh, my God. Awesome. And I think and then you have Blueberries Studio.
Yes, Blueberries Studio is the salon now that we have.
We were talking in the elevator.
As if I wasn't busy enough. I was like, yeah, with our 2 seconds of spare time, let's buy a salon, and we did.
I can't wait to jump into this story because it reminds me of my wife a lot, my wife and myself. I don't know how you guys are doing it. You guys look sane together, you and your husband. And you have a podcast.
Yes,
Love
Coffee
it.
with Karly.
How's that going?
It's good. I love coffee.
Yeah.
It's been a back and forth relationship with a podcast since 2020 was when I started. I feel like in COVID, everyone started a podcast. And so I did too, because as a small business owner, you know other people who are in the small business space, and I felt that everyone was just dying out and kind of giving up, and I saw a lot of businesses closing. It was really sad, and one of my favorite things in the world is to cheer people on, so I started coffee, and it just became, my first episode was called Fuck Everyone.
I love it.
And it was the most successful one to this date. And it was just always about helping people keep the mindset that if it's something they want to do, to just kind of wear pony blinders and keep looking forward. It became what it is today. I wish I was more consistent with it, but sometimes it has to take a backseat to, business, mom, wife. There's a lot of things going on.
All the above.
Yeah.
So what got my attention about you is those things you said, right? Like I said, my wife and I opened a business recently, and I see my wife putting on multiple hats, and I love her to death. But I can see sometimes she's at it, and she gets very frustrated.
Yeah.
I want to get your perspective. You're from Miami as well. Born and raised?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about your upbringing.
Yeah, I was born in 94, so born and raised Miami. It's all I've ever known. And in Pinecrest was where I mostly grew up. It's where Blueberries is now. I think I touched on the importance of buying a business to me that was in the same little suburb of where I grew up. My childhood was very different, I would say. I've never really talked about it before. I think I kind of gave you the forewarning of I've never spoken about it, so I don't know how my conversation with it will flow. But I grew up in a different, unique situation. My biological parents separated when I was really, really young. So I have one blood brother, and the divorce was very nasty. And so it got to the point where the court actually removed us from the house of our full-time dad. And because he had us full custody, my mom would see us part-time. They removed us from his house, and then we actually had close family friends go and take us in, and they happen to also be neighbors to us. So it was a different situation. So I have brothers and sisters to this day, but they aren't blood because their family actually took me under in like temporary guardianship. So their family adopted my brother and I for some time.
So that, I'm sure, gave you a lot of grit in life. And that,
Yes.
the parallel I want to do with that now, fast forward, I'm sorry if I touch on an emotional situation.
No, actually,
Forgive
I
me.
think it's okay. No,
Okay.
I think it's part of what makes me who I am. And when I was talking to my husband about it, I was like, I don't know, like, what if he does touch base on my childhood? Because he mentioned it,
Yeah.
and he was like, it's part of what makes you who you are. And I realized being younger as a kid, there was no one that you would really hear having that kind of life. Even now to this day, you hear a lot of sad stories from successful people, you know? But it's those circumstances when you listen to somebody who's been through it that you're just like, I can get out of it too, or I can have a different life or a different outcome, you know? And my dad and my biological mom, I kind of like moved on from everything that happened back when I was a kid. But it wasn't stable and it wasn't like this very happy environment. It was back and forth of just like trauma and then happiness and stability and then trauma and chaos. And it's part of, like I said, what made me the person that I am today.
And that's important. Mm-hmm. I mean, so for someone to be a wife and a mother and mother too, and have so many businesses, I mean, I don't see many people doing that. And it goes back to look, I believe, I come from a divorced household from Brooklyn, New York, poor background. What I am today, or everything I've overcame, I don't think I would be able to overcome that if I didn't come from a divorced household in Brooklyn, New York, from welfare,
Right.
food stamps,
Yeah.
all the psychological abuse, trauma, name
Right.
it, we can claim it, right? And I think that's something we often forget to mention in our stories.
Yeah, I think the only way I was able to really move on from the stuff that I went through childhood was obviously through a lot of therapy. But when I became a mother and I just understood what it is to have kids and the pressure of keeping like this beautiful thing alive, and also through just going through life, you know, when you've been through your own separations and your own issues. And I kind of just realized, like, you know, my parents might have been in a mentally tough place, and you're battling for custody of your kids, and things get nasty because you do crazy stuff when you're angry. And I also think their upbringings have a lot of impact on their lives, you know. And I went back and forth from my adopted family's home to my dad's house, where he had fought back for us to have full custody of us again. And as I've grown older, I have a relationship with both my biological and my mom and dad, you know. I'm closer, obviously, to my family that adopted me.
Sure.
Those are my sisters and brothers, hands down. It's my mother, you know. So I think it's confusing for other people who know us. I used to get a lot of times people would be like, oh, she's the neighbor. And they'd be confused, like, does she live here now? Like, what's going on, you know? But yeah, it did. It made me who I am today. And a lot of business issues that came up, I think the patience, the grit, the determination, the I will figure it out came from that really crazy foundation.
Yeah, it's interesting. Talking about growing up in Miami, you know, the 90s, good time. So I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I used to visit South Florida all the time. So my whole childhood was spent in Dade County, Broward County in the 90s. So what was your experience like? Were you like into grunge music, house music growing up? What was your vibe?
My gosh. Well, I had a lot of fun when I was with my friends to do stuff on our own. I mean, wakeboarding was a blast. I was not good at it, but my friends were, so I always enjoyed just to be on the boat. We did go out on the boat a lot. So with our very weird family dynamic, my dad and then the family that took me in, their dad, Jim, who I call Uncle Jim, they were best friends. So boating every weekend was like something that we did. But my dad was also a pilot, so I used to fly with him a lot. He has a little plane out in Tamiami. And I was also always like doing projects with my dad. Like I grew up mowing the yard and taking down tree limbs and working on RVs and airplanes. And so my life was just very all over the place. It was either like I was doing something super girly and getting my nails done with my one family, or if I was with my dad, we're doing, you know, like hardcore work. Music-wise, I was very well-rounded. I think I still am to this day. Like every type of genre of music I love. I mean, my husband probably can attest to that more than anything. Sometimes I put rock songs on and he's like, who are you?
Really?
But, you know, my brothers and my sisters, there's 6 kids of us in total.
Yeah.
So I kind of just had different variations and was exposed to so much stuff that I just became a melting pot of things,
That's
you know?
awesome.
And it was fun. I think that growing up with sunshine and, you know, the beach not too far away is not a bad life, to be honest.
I mean, Pinecrest, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very expensive area now.
Yes, it's so
It's
expensive.
always been, actually.
It's always been pretty expensive, but
Now it's impossible to live there.
you can't live there. Yeah, it's impossible. You need $2-3 million.
I think it was it you? I saw on social media, or someone else from South Florida put up a picture of a house currently on sale. I think it was maybe you.
Probably.
Like an investment property, like 2-bedroom. It was insane.
Insane. The pricing is kind of crazy. Now I see Miami and it's a little sad for me because I think that the people who are Miami natives don't have opportunity to stay here anymore
no more.
because we were just completely chased out by a lot of people from California and New York that came here when they had to, and I don't blame them. And if I had money and I was in the same situation, I would have done the same thing. Yeah. So a $2 million house to them might sound amazing, you know? But yeah, we're here now figuring out, like, what the heck do we do? Most people that I know are from Miami have already left. So what the future of Miami will be, I'm not sure. But I did love it growing up. It was very different.
Yeah, I think some good news coming across. They're saying a lot of the New Yorkers, California people are going back. AI hubs are in California.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I was telling you and your husband in the elevator. I was, in my past career as a realtor, and we love the values going up, right? Commissions go up and everything, but if it backfires,
Oh, yeah.
like my kids are 7 and 8, 8 and 7. When they get older and they want to buy a house in South Florida,
Oh, yeah. How? How?
right? And it's insane. Okay, so high school, you went to college?
I did some college at Miami-Dade.
Cool.
It was awful.
Yeah.
I think Miami-Dade's actually a really good college. If people do want to go to school
right.
in Miami, I think Miami-Dade is an amazing college. I don't know if it gets the clout that it deserves. But I was working a 9 to 5 and then going to school 5 to 9, and I was exhausted. And I was like taking the metro to work and then to get to school, and it was a lot on me. And I just told myself, I make enough money that I don't really see the point of being in school. And that's kind of where I branched out, and I was like, I just like business, and I like that if I work hard, I receive an outcome that's kind of instant. So everything that I was thinking on going to school for, I really didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. I just wanted to go to school. That was like my one thing, is no one in my family had ever graduated from college, and I just wanted to be the first one from my bloodline to graduate. And then I thought, like, how silly, like, you know, and it doesn't matter. And then also I have to take the responsibility in paying for it. So what's the point?
What were you doing? What job did you have at that time?
So, oh my gosh, what job didn't I have? When I tell you I've worked in so many different industries and places, I really, really have, because I used to get stolen from jobs. Somebody would see me and be like, oh, she's really good at what she does. And they would offer me more money. And I was a kid that if you gave me $2 more, I was out.
Yeah.
So, I worked, when I was in college, I was working at a construction company, and I was also working at the food court at Dadeland Mall. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I've been many times.
I used to pass out smoothie
Landmark.
samples.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to pass out smoothie samples and make smoothies for people, which is crazy.
What year was this? Late.
Oh, God, I have no idea. I was
2000s.
19, I want to say. Yeah, 19 years old, 19, 20.
Wow.
So,
in the
yeah.
mall, food court. Okay.
Yeah, and I used to take the metro drops you off right at Dadeland Station, and then I would walk from Dadeland Station to Dadeland. And yeah, it was crazy. I can't believe I did any of that. I used to take like the bus and stuff. I think now back, if I ever, and my son's only 4 now, but I already know when he is 18, if I tell him get on a metro and take a bus, I'm sure he'd be just so lost. I don't know how I figured any of that out, but I was a very determined kid.
Do you agree, Karly? Once again, like our old school, generations, it was just tougher now and nowadays. How old are your kids?
4 and 8 months.
Okay, so a baby. Congratulations.
Baby, thank you.
So this generation coming up, I have kids older than you, and my kids are spoiled. Mom and dad had done pretty well for themselves, and we take care of them. And my wife, like I said, she's just a gunner. But the work ethic our kids don't have anywhere close to myself or my wife.
Yeah.
And it's scary. The future, I'm a big follower of Patrick Bet-Dave, and he's one of his sayings, if the future looks bright. The future doesn't look that bright right now with the kids, the way they're raising up, right? With iPads and the technology piece. Does that worry you at all? Especially with your background, as hardworking as you've been, and nothing have given to you. Everything you've gotten, 4 or 5 businesses is on you and your husband.
Yeah. I kind of hope and pray my kids don't have to go through the chaos of everything I've been through for the businesses. I hope that my kids have the opportunity to live a softer life, because sometimes I think I get so wrapped up in business. And there's this trend happening on social media where it's like, I almost forgot this is the point, And there was a lot that I missed out on where I was just focused solely on the next thing. I haven't traveled a lot. There's so many places I want to visit. There's a lot that I want to do. And now I think to myself, like, how can I step away? Or how can we take the kids? Or even my husband and I, we didn't take our honeymoon. And I just think to myself, I would like for my kids to have that opportunity. So I hope that they have somewhat of a balance of the hustle and determination, I would say. But I also hope that they get the part of being lazy enough to find faster, more efficient ways to do things. Because I do think that there is some power in these lazier kids out there, that they don't want to do the work. So they'll find the faster, easier way to get it done.
I love that.
Yeah,
Wow.
And without working so hard. And I think that that's great. When I was younger, I used to find faster, easier, lazier ways to get things done. And I did it more efficiently. So I got paid a lot more for things like that. So I think that there's something to be learned in these lazier kids.
That's an interesting perspective. Wow, interesting.
I am not a fan of iPads or TV, though. In our household, we don't do that. iPads are a huge no-no. Like, my son is only 4, and he's asking me for iPads because his friends have iPads, and I'm like, no, kid, play with coffee creamer at the table and be bored, just like all of us were growing up. Play with the sugar packets, eat the sugar packets. I don't care, but you're gonna be bored at this table. I think it's okay for kids to be bored. That's how they learn to be imaginative,
Sure.
So
I love that.
In
Great,
our house,
great
we don't
point.
play with it.
Karly Jewelry, the
Yes.
line you have, beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. When did that come? First of all, let me go back one second. Do you believe in law of attraction,
Yes. Oh my God.
manifestation?
Yes.
Okay. The business that you have right now, was that part of that? Like, you have a vision one day, sitting down, driving somewhere, and say, boom, I want to do a
No.
line? Okay.
So, speaking of Miami-Dade, I don't know the lady's name, but when I went to Miami-Dade, she was asking me, what did I want to be? And I was like, I think I want to be an anesthesiologist. Imagine, when I was a kid, I would Google, like, what makes the most money annually? Anesthesiologist, made 6 figures, and I was like, that's what I want to do. But I was studying business administration first because I was unsure. And so she had told me to close my eyes, and she asked me what I envisioned myself wearing when I was older at my job that was like my dream job. So I had described like a really pretty pantsuit, or maybe I could go to work in sweats. Like, I don't want to be able to like have a uniform, and like heels. And I think I remember describing like a handbag. And then she was like, okay, none of this is anesthesiologist. None of this is like anywhere near the medical field. This is all business. And she gave me a moment where I realized, like, oh my God, she's right. And how do I wear sweatpants and stuff to work and it just be like who I am? And out of desperation, so my biological mother was with my stepdad for a long time. He had a jewelry business my entire life. And out of desperation, one month where I just couldn't afford rent, I was working at Lexus, but I had been eating SHIT and not on my A game. And you're in sales. You've been in sales.
Yes, my whole life.
I know. And if you're off your A game, that's it. Lexus has this crazy thing. Most car dealerships do. When you're selling cars, there's a scary thing called a draw, which means that they give you the money. You got to make enough to pay it back. If you don't make enough to pay it back, then the next month you owe double draws. Yeah. So I got myself in a little bit of a pickle being on a boat and hanging out with friends and spending my time very stupidly because I had made decent money. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot pay rent. And I have gotten myself in the worst situation. I had the worst partner in the entire world at the time too, who was like very unhealthy for me. And I had dumped him. So I didn't have his portion of the rent anymore. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, how do I make this money? I went to my stepdad's store to work for him for the day for like $100, I think, on my day off. And I saw the jewelry and I was like, I bet I could sell all of this on my Instagram. Like, he had wholesale jewelry and put it in the front for display to be sold. And he had told me, why don't you take a few pieces and see if you could sell them? So I started taking pictures in the store. And the next week, I just took them all with me. And on my lunch break at Lexus, I would be taking pictures of the pieces. And I sold all of them within like 2 days. So I was like, game on. This is amazing. This is exactly what I've ever dreamed of. I went back. I bought more pieces with my money that I had made. Took the pieces, resold them, and then I started realizing, hey, this is a little bit of a system, and I like it. And I liked the jewelry, so it was so much easier to sell. I was obsessed with them. They were called bolo bracelets, and the concept behind a bolo bracelet is you can adjust it, and it's a big deal for me because I have a smaller wrist. If I used to buy something with an evil eye, it would toss and turn, and you wouldn't see it. So evil eyes and bolo bracelets, they were my thing, and I just started leaning into that heavily. And after a month, I realized I had made $6,000 doing it. And so I had told myself that, you know, if this is enough to pay my rent and pay my car and not have to be slaving at my job anymore. I was a finance manager. I had moved up from being a car salesman, and that was an excruciatingly hard job, way more responsibility. And for me, it was less pay. Really? I was amazing as a car salesperson.
Finance, I heard that can be really lucrative.
It could be, but as a car salesperson, I could come in, I could sell a car, throw them in the box, which is what we called finance, throw them in the box, and then put the license plate on the car and leave them the car keys. So I spent less time there.
Okay.
And I did the deals faster, and most people didn't haggle me on the pricing of the car. So I got good bonuses, and I could sell volume. That was a lot of fun. For me, car sales was more fun than finance. Finance, I was stuck in a box. Most people don't like you. You have the ability to mess up a deal. And when you're just starting out, they give you cash deals, which are zeros. And at the time, it worked against you, like for your numbers. So yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't love it.
Where was Lexus dealership at?
Pinecrest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I worked for the West Kendall one selling cars. Okay. And then I left there. And they told me I was never going to be a finance manager. So they were like, no way, you're like 12 years old. And there are people that have been here for 20 years dying for that job. So the GM from the West Kendall was moved to Kendall, the Pinecrest location. And I drove on a random day that I just had some major cojones. I don't know where I got the idea from. And I went to him and I was like, I want to be a finance manager. I can be better than anyone you have here. And he sent me to school for finance. I passed the test first try, and then that was it. I was in the box. So, and then I had it. I was like, this is everything I ever dreamed of. And I absolutely detested it. Like I hated it. I was treated so awful. I was the only female. And that was the worst to work with that many men.
It's not common to see financial managers in a car dealership be a woman.
Yeah, and
it's not common.
It's not common, and they are destroyed in that environment. That was the unhealthiest work environment I had ever been in, and the disrespect is so insane when you're a female. I hated it. So when I found any way to make enough to just get by, I think I quit after a month and a half of selling bolo bracelets on Instagram. And I remember my mom, she was like, Karly, the one that adopted me, who I consider like my mother. She was like, just don't do anything stupid and don't quit your job. Just do this for a year. And when it's stable, then you can leave. And I was like, I already quit. And I remember my whole family just being like so scared of what's going to happen. And I lived alone. And, you know, I feel like there was so much concern because you could never control me as a kid and you couldn't talk sense into me, which is a very scary thing. We both have kids. That is very scary when you have a child who won't listen and they have to learn on their own.
Yeah.
So my mom was always terrified.
I'm going to give you a heads up. You're second as a boy?
My second one is a girl.
Oh, you guys are in trouble. You guys are in trouble.
I say it all the time. I'm like, I don't even know what we're gonna do.
Second babies are always my daughter Iman. Shout out to Iman. Somebody watch this. I love her to death. And Aiza, both Aiza and Iman. But my daughter's second one, Iman, she's just her own mind.
Firecracker.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And they're just a different being.
Yeah.
Your eldest one, my eldest one, is very sensitive.
Yes.
Right? Same?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. He's very sensitive.
Even as a boy, his emotions. He's mama's boy.
He's of
Okay,
course, mama's boy to the T,
Yeah.
and he is sensitive, but he's very intellectual, and he is so obsessed with science. And the other day we were fighting about the amount of moons on a planet, and I had told him, Maverick, because he had told me it was 200 something moons on one of the planets, and I go, no, Maverick, there's like 6 or 9 maybe, I don't know, but not 200.
Yeah.
So I was like, Alexa, how many moons are on, I think it was Saturn. And then it was like, there are 263 moons on Saturn. I was like, what's happening? My 4-year-old is so much smarter than me. So it's
the name
fun.
Maverick.
Maverick.
How'd you get the name? I have a guess I'm gonna take, but you tell me.
So my nephew is named Finn Maverick Viney.
Okay.
Very powerful name. Love Finn. And I always loved the name Maverick. I thought I was having a girl. So at first I was thinking the name King would be so cute for a girl. And then I found out it was a boy. So I was like, we've always liked the name Maverick for a boy. So what about Maverick King? And so that became his name, Maverick King.
Love it.
Yeah.
My guess was Top Gun, my favorite movie of all time.
I know everyone thinks
Yeah,
that.
Tom Cruise character.
I've never seen it.
Oh, girl.
I know. I've never seen
The
seen
sequel
it.
came out about 2 years ago. You should do yourself a favor. One of the best movies of all time.
I know.
You'll
I
like
really
it.
need to. I
You'll
need to
like
watch it.
You're a movie person?
I'm a movie person-ish. I don't really I don't have time for
Yes,
TV.
I can tell.
And I turn on the TV at nighttime
Yeah.
and about like 8:30, my husband's like, hello.
You're knocked
and
out.
I'm out. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So Jewelry came up. Okay. How long has this been up and running for?
How many years was it, Bebe? 7, 8? 7. 7.
Wow.
7 years, yeah. Long years.
And
Yeah.
wow. So where can we find you? Where can we buy it?
Kasakarly.com or at Kasakarly on IG and TikTok. And if you need anything, we have everything, but we specialize in lightweight statement earrings. Bolo bracelets, 100%. It's hard to find a bolo bracelet these days, especially ones that are cool, because usually I find bolo bracelets for kids. So we do have a lot of those. But our lightweight statement earrings are what made us who we are. We came out with a waterfall style earring, named them the Samaras. I really don't even remember why. I think I had looked up the name Samara, and what it represented was beautiful. So we have the short version, the long version, the angel wing, the diamond Samara, the crystal Samara, the icon Samara. We have every variation of that earring. Every brand that you have probably ever heard of in jewelry has started copying most of what we carry and the names for our pieces. And yeah, at first I was aggravated by it, and now I'm like, go Casa, because we're not that big, still. We have 50,000 followers, so we're not big on social media, but for when I see these other companies that are kind of like
Inspired by your stuff.
Yeah, I think, wow, I can't wait to see when we get to what I consider to be the top, what that'll look like.
Can't wait, inshallah. Samara, so I'm Pakistani, I'm Pakistani American. My parents from Pakistan. That's a Pakistani name.
Wow.
Samara. It's a female name.
Yes.
It's a beautiful name. That's interesting. You use that for your line.
I do agree with you.
I
think
love it.
Back when I used to find earrings, I always wanted the names to align with how I felt that style represented itself. So I think if I remember correctly, it has something to do with like divine goddess.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel those earrings make you feel. I think people in the beginning used to think I was crazy about the whole jewelry helping you manifest. I know you thought about, you asked me about that.
I'm big in manifestation.
Huge in manifestation. Yeah. One of the most important parts in your manifestation journey is dressing how you want to appear. When you go to a jewelry store and you want to buy a diamond ring, the amount of money it costs is absurd, especially if you're younger. But when I was younger, I was working in high-end places and I wanted to look nice, dress nice. And so, gold-plated or gold-filled was really what I stuck to. So when I had Casa, I always told people, wearing jewelry is a part of your self-care and manifestation journey. It's a part of being who you want to become. So we have the 6 figures tennis necklace, things like that really were a part of what I believe jewelry could do for you and how you look when you walk into a room. If you see a woman, she's very dressed up and she looks pretty, you're like, wow, great. You see a woman and she walks in and she's got beautiful heels and eyeglasses that catch your attention and beautiful hoops and a tennis chain, you take like a double take. It's a different feeling too as the woman when you're wearing those pieces. So our next collection is actually called Made You Lucky. And I'm excited about it because we're going back to our roots of evil eyes and crosses and sort of like Egyptian style jewelry pieces. So
that's insane. Evil eye is big. So I'm Muslim in our culture, religion in the Middle East and Pakistan, Asia is huge.
Yes.
Not so much, I think, in the Western world as much as it is in the outside. You believe in the evil eye?
I do think that wearing an evil eye for some reason always makes me feel like I am protected. So before I leave the house, I have my evil eye ring on. I don't know why. It's something that brings me a sense of peace and protection. It's similar to when I wear my cross also. I think it's all about what you believe the pieces mean to you. I don't think that anything is larger than God. So I think that I'm always protected by him at the end of the day.
Same thing. That's my same belief I have
But
also.
I will absolutely wear an evil eye. And if it breaks, I'll be like, oh, someone was jealous of this piece.
Love it.
So I do have a feeling of belief in it. I think anything can be a piece of protection.
Question. In business, in all your businesses, you ever have a situation, a project, a launch of some sort of something that doesn't go the way it's supposed to go, and you and your husband stop and say, wait a minute, was that the evil eye? Was that our cousin? Was that my buddy? Was that my friend, my girlfriend? Competition?
I used to really believe in that. Oh my God, I used to think that all the time. I would think to myself, I don't want to tell anybody anything because it could throw me off my rocker or whatever the case is. And now I think my take on it, especially this past year, because I feel this past year I've evolved more than ever as a wife, a mom, and a businesswoman, because this last year was hard for me. And I don't agree with it so much anymore. I think that when we keep it to ourselves, we're able to focus more on our path and see the end point of where we want to be. When you start sharing all your ideas and your wishes and stuff you want with family or friends, everyone gives their opinion, and then I don't think your focus is as targeted anymore. You have been swayed maybe this way, this way, this way, this way. And so you're very wishy-washy. And I don't think that your wants and desires are crystal clear anymore. So my husband and I now, we don't tell anybody anything.
Your plans.
Nothing.
It's good.
We don't tell anybody. We don't tell his parents, my parents, siblings, best friends, nothing. At the end of the day, my husband and my 2 kids, those are our family. If my husband's okay with the decision and I'm okay with the decision and it's our money and no one else is involved, nobody else's opinion needs to be heard. So whether it's a move, whether it's a business thing, and if I do take advice, it's usually when I'm in a receiving state. So I'll go to somebody who has the life that I've always yearned for.
Nailed it.
So I'm like, who has the biggest house in Pinecrest, and can I get a hold of them? And that's actually what we did for Blueberries. We called someone who was so successful, and I was like, I need to talk to you. My husband and I have a crazy idea. We actually first talked to him about buying a piece of property. And at the table, he had said, maybe you guys focus on buying like a small business or something. And I go, oh yeah, I wonder what happened with Blueberries, if they ever sold it. And I was like, my sisters were first trying to get Blueberries. So I was like, let me call my sisters and see what ended up coming out of that. My older sister was like, no, we decided not to do it. If you want, here's the number for the realtor, see if you want it. That same day we walked into the salon, and that night we were under contract. So that's how we did it. If they have the life that you want, and they've been through what you are going to go through, and maybe could help you skip a few puddles that you're going to step in, the mindset is different. One day I had been on the phone with him, and I told him, I'm just a little scared about taking the space next door. And he he like goes silent. I'm like, hello? And he goes, oh, sorry, I just had to make sure I was talking to Karly still. And he goes, is this for real or are you joking me? He's like, I'm going to call your husband. And I was like, no, you're right. So it's very different. Whereas you call someone who might not have ever take those leaps and they're like, be careful, don't grow too fast, and you're gonna eat it one day or another. You can't always avoid it.
Of course.
No, so.
Look, I have in-laws. I love them to death. Same. Like, and I did a gentleman, I don't know if you followed him. If you don't, you should. His name is Vick Tipnes. He's in Tampa. He's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Self-made. And his story was he had $80 in the bank 10 years ago, and now he's the biggest, largest sleep apnea company.
Oh,
Private
wow.
jet, beautiful wife, beautiful kids. And he talks about it. He goes, listen, man, and I had a mastermind with him, one-on-one. Like, not one-on-one, it was him and 10 of us. He looks at me and he goes, listen, don't ask for advice from the people that don't have what you have, what you want.
Yeah, of course.
Repeat it again. Don't ask for advice from people that don't have what you want.
Yeah.
Number one, like for example, do you ask for marriage advice from a person who's been divorced 3 times?
It's a huge thing. That's a huge thing because they also come with the opposite side of refs don't play, like refs or coaches don't play, right? I think that's what it is. Coaches don't play. And you're like, yeah, but they have a completely different lifestyle than a player. So if you're going to ask for advice, you have to go to the players. You can't go to the coach because I can coach somebody all day on how to do something because I'm sure I can figure out what the logistics are and systems are systems. But at the end of the day, I can't tell you how to get to that exact spot unless I've gone through it myself. I think it's a totally different ballgame when you talk to somebody who's already achieved what you want to achieve, not just has the same goals as you, because if you guys are in the same position, you both have 2 different ideas of how to get to the end point. So you got to find the person who's already been there, who has the life you want. So don't go to the rich man who's divorced, go to the rich man who's still married and was able to put his kids and his wife on the same pedestal as he put his business, because that's huge for me, So who we went to, still married, beautiful kids, lives in Pinecrest, great relationship with his wife, travels all the time. I look up to him a lot. I met him at Lexus when I was a finance manager.
So I have a lot of qualities. I seek out mentorship and consulting all the time. As I was telling you, we have a med spa, and I was telling my best friend last night. My best friend's visiting me from California. We're having a talk at Poppy Steakhouse, having dinner. He's like, how's the med spa going? I go, it's going good. I go, the biggest thing I've learned to how to collapse time. So whatever money we make, we're putting back in the business. We got a consultant who's been there, done that, opened multiple, and so we hired him to show us how to do the same. Mentorship. Like I have 3 or 4 mentors that I have for different reasons, marriage, business, all that. How important do you think mentorship or reaching out to the gentleman you guys reached out to has been?
Huge. For any reason, huge. I was in a really bad predicament with Casa where I trusted an accountant to be filing my taxes. It was the biggest nightmare that I still deal with to this day, and it was an awful experience. And when I was in the pits with Casa and I'm thinking, what do I do? How do I get out of it? I called 2 people who are the coolest people, some of the coolest people I know after my kids and my husband, obviously. But Heather Monahan, I don't know if you follow her, but you have to. She's an author, but she's also a badass in business, and she's an incredibly strong woman. And I called her because I knew she'd be my hype woman, and she would tell me, like, get it together and you're going to be fine and grow up, and give me the hard talk that I needed to hear. And then I called Joe Martin, who was the owner and founder of BoxyCharm and sold it for $500 million. So I called the 2 strongest people I know. I talked to Joe and I told him, this is what I'm in and I need a strategy and how do I get out? And when I spoke to him and I spoke to Heather when I got off the call, I was like, I can make it out of this. But there was earlier that month where I was thinking to myself, maybe I'll just sell Casa as is and have it taken off my hand for a good chunk and just bow out now. So it's such a different change of mentality from just talking to people. And then also, too, the best thing in the entire world is both of them had a story to share with me about where they were in a very similar position. And so you think to yourself, thank God, and I'm not so stupid, and other people have been here, and if they're capable, I am capable.
Wow.
So those 2 phone calls were the most important phone calls of Casa, honestly, and a very good partner that supports me, because I had a meltdown in the shower and said that that's it. I was selling casa earlier that month, and Ivan was like, hey, let's go on a walk. He was like, I don't really know what to do with you right now. I was also pregnant, so that's like very hard being a female, going through all these changes and stuff, being pregnant. But yeah, those 2 phone calls were
That's amazing. Yeah,
big deals.
I mean, and the thing that I find, 2 things I want to touch on, like very similar situation when you're struggling, and you think you're the only one doing that, right? You're the only, sometimes my wife will say to me like, "Hey, we're idiots. Like we don't know what we're doing." And I'll have someone I've reached out to, and I'll get them on the phone, and same thing like you, and they'll tell the same thing. I'm like, see, I told you, babe, we're not. And people go through this very similar journeys. And when you hear that, you feel like a little more at ease that you're on the right path.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Really, really important. With that being said, the fact that you had the guts, the courage, your husband and you both had courage to call someone, but people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
People in today's day and age don't want to raise their hand and say, hey, I need some help.
Well, people aren't so nice. And I understand that. I get that because I'm very lucky that Joe and Heather are a phone call away, but I have also talked to people in business and they're not nice. And I think that compassion and love and sharing has just gone away, especially with this new world. Everybody's more focused on what do I get and me. And so you'll call someone and they won't give you all the ingredients to their cake because they don't want you to make the same cake. And I always say everyone's personality is what truly makes them unique. So if somebody asked me right now, hey, I want to have my own podcast, what can I do? I mean, if there's any advice that I can give them, I'll give it to them. They've been in a hard spot and there's something that I can say to help them, I will. I'm not really afraid about people stepping on my toes so much. I think I was when I was younger because that was the mentality, is everybody just wanted to hold their own information. But there's so much money to be made in this world. And not only that, I don't think no one can copy my personality. No one can copy who I am. No one can copy the style of podcast I have. People can start their own podcast. It might not be the same audience that enjoys it, or maybe they do, and then we collaborate one day. So I think that some people just aren't so nice anymore. So I always try to be helpful. And part of the reason why I started also Konsulting Lab. And yeah, I understand the people not wanting to reach out for help. There are some people who don't reach out, maybe like an ego thing, which people have to get over that. If you're going to be in business, you can't have an ego.
Yeah,
it'll ruin you, But for the other people, I do get just being intimidated to pick up the phone and talk to somebody,
Yeah, I mean, business, I don't know. It's interesting. It can teach you how to be humble real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there'll be days and there'll be years and you're doing amazing, and social media following, you have a few comments and people saying, oh, you're such an inspiration. And then the next month P&L is looking upside down.
Oh my God, I know. Do you ever get that where people are telling you you're such an inspiration, you're doing so great, and then you're like in the bottom of the bottom, and it makes me feel more like a failure. I'm like, just don't talk to me right now. Just don't even look at me. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but
all the time. And my wife more than anything,
Yeah.
and she was a full-time doctor, physician, and then she's an injector provider at our med spa. And people, social media, right? And social media is interesting. Like, your social media is beautiful. I love your page.
Thank you.
I'll share my page with you. And our page, we put a lot of intention to it. The reel, the gags, all the funny stuff. And, we built a beautiful office, very Miami inspired. And people see that like, oh, wow. Dr. Simon Kibi is just killing it. And man, they're doing so well. And the truth is that we're not. The P&L says otherwise, right? And let's go back to law of attraction for a second. I'm a big believer. So are you religious?
Yes, I am.
Can I ask you what religion?
Yeah. So this is such a funny topic. I was baptized as a Catholic child in Dominican Republic because the family that took me in is Dominican. So I was raised very Dominican. But my bloodline's actually Bahamian and American. Such a weird mutt. So I was baptized in Santo Domingo. And I don't know, I always resonated with a Christian church. I don't know why. I feel like just it's easier to understand, and I've always felt sort of home there. So I would say I feel very Christian. which is weird because I feel like picking a religion is also so
yeah,
weird,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Why,
I mean, it shouldn't be,
box
but it is, right?
Why box it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say I believe in God. I don't think anything is higher than God. I pray to God and I pray to Jesus, and those are the two people that I talk to every day when I say my prayers, and no one else. So for me, that's how religion is.
Okay, so law of attraction, manifestation became huge last 10 years. For me, it was the book, The Secret. I read it and I was blown away. And I always had this thing inside of me saying, hey, that, you know what, I don't know how you feel about this, but like, you do have some control of your reality. And I believe you co-create with you and your higher power. It's a joint venture, of course, and God's in control, God's plan. But, you know, what your thoughts are, negative or positive, will affect your habits.
Of course.
Your habits will affect your reality. Some people give me a hard time. Hey, you're a Muslim, and Muslim don't, law of attraction doesn't go hand in hand. Christian, I have a lot of Christians, Catholic friends, same
Yes.
thing. Hey, manifestation is not, aligned. And a lot of them do say it's aligned. Where do you stand?
So I think it's so funny. I always like to talk to people. I'm like, did you talk to God?
Yeah.
Did you ask him? Did he tell you this? Like, did you talk to Jesus? Yes, in the Bible, it has specific verbiage, and
It does.
my husband's read the Bible several times, front and back. So he was actually the first one to kind of check me on that and tell me it too. And he lets me believe in anything that I would ever want to believe in, but he always will give me the facts. I love him for that. In my eyes, I think that if I'm going to say a prayer to God and tell him I am ready for your next step, that is part of manifestation. And if anybody doesn't believe it, then I don't think that you're understanding of what manifestation truly is.
Sure.
Because in order for you to say a prayer to God and to ask Jesus for something and to say, I want this next step, I'm ready for this house, it requires you to have the mindset that you are already going to get that, and that you already know what you want, and that it's already on its way to you. And so you're asking God to please bring that to you because now you are ready for this next step. That is manifestation. And I do think that God loves his children and he always provides. And if you pray, he will answer them. Ivan and I had a very heated podcast episode about this where, he questions a lot of things religiously, which if you ever have a conversation with him about it, good luck. He'll put you in the hot seat. But yeah, I do feel like it's very much a part of religion, and it makes sense if you just listen to it logically. And also too, if so many scientists, right? They put like caps on you and they tell you think certain things, and they can read your frequency and your brain wavelengths. And we have radio existing, and that's all done through radio frequency. So if radio exists and your brain produces wavelengths and frequencies also, why is manifestation such a weird thing, So I don't know. I feel like I just put science together and then religion together, and I'm like, this is what works for me, and this is what has always worked for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great explanation. I love it. That'll be a good reel. Can't wait to share this. Law of gravity. Right? I mean, if we drop this phone, it's going to come right down.
Comes back down to the floor.
Like, why don't we question that, right?
Yeah.
And then
because we're walking on the street.
Right.
Everybody's like, I see it and it's here. But that's what faith is. Faith is that you just undoubtedly know that it is working for you and it's happening, and God has his like wings wrapped around you, and you know that you're safe and taken care of. And that's why faith is so much harder, because you can't see it. And manifestation is so much harder because you can't see it. People think also manifestation means you just have like a perfect life and nothing ever goes wrong. And that's not the case either. So I think that nature is involved at some point. And I also think too, sometimes we say we're ready for things, but I think that somebody's up there protecting you and saying, not yet. And I just trust that. That's part of unwavering faith and knowing like, this is what I believe in,
That's amazing. This is going to be some good reels coming out soon. About to wrap up here soon. Let's talk about living. The word managing time is hard. Living your best life as a wife, 2 kids, husband, businesses. You have a big social life at all?
No. Honestly, my best friend is my husband. I know that sounds corny, but Ivan and I were friends before we started dating for a while. And we really had an opportunity to have a friendship. And I think at the beginning of our friendship, he was actually closest with my older sister and her husband. So he was always around, but we have a real friendship. When I have spare time, I want to hang out with my husband. I want to go have dinner with him or go to the movies with him. And sometimes we just sit at home. Like if one kid's in school and the other one's with grandma, we're just at the house like, oh my God, let's watch a TV show. But yeah, living my best life as a wife is something that I do get to do every day. And especially as a mom, because even though I'm all over the place and I'm very busy, at the end of the day on a Tuesday, I could tell everybody like, hey, handle everything and no one need me. I just want to hang out and take a day off, and I can do that, which is something that took me, 6-7 years to get to. So I would say that I'm very blessed in that sense.
Your business journey, how many years has it been?
For which ones?
Well, the first one to now.
Well, Casa was the first one, so 7
ago.
years of Casa. But all my life has been sales and business and execution and closing. And I mean, that's literally all I live and breathe,
I got my undergrad in political science, MBA in marketing. Do I regret it? Yes. I didn't use none of that.
Yeah.
My initial plans were to become a lawyer, and that didn't work out. What I am now, an entrepreneur, podcaster, some courses in my undergrad and MBA helped a little bit, but if I can go back, I'm gonna ask you this question. If you can go back and as a 15-year-old girl looks up to you, and she said, Karly, I want to become an entrepreneur like you. Mm-hmm. But my mom and dad are pushing me to go to school, FIU, FAU, MDC, BC, Broward College. What would you say to that girl? And I have one more question after that.
My mom tried bribing me with a car one time. She would give me a brand new car. I just had to go become an attorney, and I declined the car. I think most kids would chase the shiny figures. Shiny object syndrome is actually really funny. People should look into that more. It's about like just wanting that,
Yes.
And I said no because I knew that I just didn't want to do that. I would say save your money. Enjoy being a different kid, because your childhood and who you are through high school looks very different when you want to be an entrepreneur. And sometimes it can be really lonely, but I would say enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. And if you don't need school, stay away from it. I did it for a stupid reason. I don't think that I respect education. And I do think that there are courses and classes you can take, and I highly, highly respect those courses and classes. But when it comes to just basic business, like get a job. That's what I would tell them. Go get a job, work summers, work for somebody as an assistant, go to like your dream job and say you want to be sweeping floors, and just be in that environment, because you'll learn 1,000 times more doing that, So if I could tell them, I would say get a summer job.
Yeah, same here.
With somebody now.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell them. If someone asked me, I'll say, hey, even work for free for someone. If you can, even for a few hours, just to see their habits and their mindset.
Oh, Jesus, and stay off social media. To like the younger kids, what I could tell them is, if you don't have to be on social media, stay off of it unless you're learning. There's so many books that you can listen to on Audible. And I started re-listening to one that's one of my favorites. And it's such a mindset shift if you're listening to the right person. It's like portable mentors.
Speaking of that, then one more question after that. Your mentors, like for me, Tony Robbins is a huge one, Patrick Bet-David. Who are your top mentors, authors, speakers?
Gary Bishop is the book I'm re-listening to now. It's called Un-F Yourself.
Okay, yep, I know about that.
Got to spell it out. It's an amazing book. It just talks about like getting out of your own way, which most people do every single day. They just, I don't want to do it because what if people say, and it's insane because you're just like, people are going to say bad stuff about you anyway. I could do nothing and have a 9 to 5 and people would still have stuff to say. Might as well just do it, So I would say Gary Bishop is my favorite. Other than that, Alex Hormozy, insane. Him and his wife are incredible.
Leila Hormozy, both of them.
Incredible.
What a couple.
Cody Sanchez.
Oh, yes, I love her.
Baller. She's the reason that we were like, we're going after Blueberries.
Oh, wow.
Cody Sanchez was, because she was always talking about businesses are already established. You can go get them. And
she's a big believer of that.
yes, and she also pressed, like, if there's a lot of work that needs to be done, those are the ones that are the best. And when I saw Blueberries, I saw that there's so much that they weren't doing. And I looked at Ivan and I was like, baby, this is it. Like, I mean, literally that same night we were under contract without the financing or anything taken care of. I was like, we're just doing it. It'll come.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Don't worry about the how.
No, yeah. I literally signed the contract and Ivan was looking over at me and he was laughing and he was like, where are we going to get this from?
Don't worry about
and we
the how.
did. We did. God provides. If it's for you, God in the universe, it provides.
Absolutely. Have the faith, right? And good intention.
Yes.
Ivan and you, I met you guys really like an hour ago, and your energy is beautiful. Both of you make a beautiful couple.
Thank you.
Last question, your habits. So as an entrepreneur myself, I wake up, I do gratitude, I do a bunch of stuff, right? Visualize, journal. Share yours, Karly. What do you do?
You know, I'm excited to share this perspective. I have no habits.
Hey, it's interesting.
And I actually like that because I think for so long I forced myself to have all these serious habits and I really wanted to be like this specific type of entrepreneur that, you know, you wake up and you do this and you do that and like you have this type of ritualistic morning. But I have 2 kids. Sometimes I don't sleep. Sometimes I'm up working for Casa and I got to bed at 3 a.m. Sometimes I decided to be a wife and stay up till midnight watching a movie with my husband. And so life, I don't think, was meant to be lived so seriously for the people who can just be free-flowing. I am a very free-flowing human. I wake up and if my calendar doesn't have anything on it, I just think to myself, like, where am I going to put some effort and time today? And so, yeah, some days go to the kids, to being a wife. Some days I just don't stop working. And I think it allows me to just embrace everything life is throwing my way and not be so anxious. Because when I had the strict schedule, I lived with this anxious feeling of, oh my God, I didn't do my workout this morning. And now I'm like a POS because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And now I'm not a real boss anymore and I'm failing. And so, yeah, when you give yourself this really strict guidelines of how you're supposed to live your life, I think just like missing something makes you feel like a failure. So I just was telling myself, what if I don't have anything to miss? And I work out at whatever time feels good for me that day. And I just pick up the kids when I have to and everything else rolls around that. And so that's very much how I live my life.
You should write a book on that.
Oh, yes.
That's
that
my
would be
idea.
great.
That's my idea for you guys.
That would be a great idea.
Give me a little shout out in the
Coffee,
end.
yeah. and watch Coffee with Karly that my husband has renamed Koffee Mob on his own.
Okay.
And that's our podcast where we talk about
I love it. I love it.
we talk about everything on there, yeah.
I love it. Listen, nothing but amazing prayers for you. Inshallah, you guys will be kicking ass even more.
Thank you so
Future
much.
looks bright. Very proud of both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be on here.
Thank you for making this happen, coming this morning. And we'll do a part 2 soon.
I love that. Let's do it.
Karly, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
You're the
having me.
best.
Bye, guys.